Lasso. You probably already know. For those who don't know, obviously, welcome to Lasso's Passions. I've been working on this book. For those who want to know what's up with that, um, man, creating a book, self-publishing is much harder than they make it out to seem on YouTube. Of course, when they explain something on YouTube, they put a smile on, they tell you do this, do that, do this. Sometimes they skip a few things, and it's really nice when they leave templates. That's nice. See, that's handy. But yeah, I've dived in. I've dove in. Is that a word? Dived? Is that a word? I dived in. I dove into this task, this goal of mine. A goal of mine, a real goal of mine this year is to publish a book. I've always talked about it. I've always had ideas, and sometimes the ideas are not strong enough for me personally. Like, I don't want to do it because I'm like, the idea isn't strong enough. So I finally came to a book where I'm like, okay, this is good. This is strong enough. I think this is good. This works. There's something of value being brought to the table. It's not just some bullshit fiction. It's a nonfiction. It's real. It's real, authentic dialogue with different actors and filmmakers and film festival runners, and you know uh, a big handful. We're talking over 10 people for sure. I lost count on how many people I interviewed, and then the whole thing is in the book. The book is called Dialogues, Oklahoma Independent Cinema, Filmmakers, Actors, and the Future of AI in Film. Um, Now, what's crazy is the process of getting it, you know, published as an ebook has been quite a process. It's been fun, um, but now it's like now that I've pretty much gone through everything. I'm learning new things. I'm learning formatting. It's a whole thing. It's a whole thing, and to be honest, like it's good that I have a lot of skills in screenwriting and formatting and stuff because that comes in real handy. But there's still a lot of stuff I didn't know. Luckily, I had my brother here who's got some experience, and he was able to point out a few things, fix a few things for me. That saved me a lot of time. Oh man, having somebody just show you how to do it will save you so much time. That's why mentors are so important. It's so important to find a mentor and just see if they can help you and teach you the ways. Um, but yeah, it saved me so much time because it's a process. It's a little complicated. It can get a little complicated. It can get a little overwhelming. Obviously, we're dealing with 125 pages. That's a 125 pages of possibilities of errors that happen. So it's not easy. So I finally, with the help of Kindle, because once you upload your manuscript, it'll, I guess it'll analyze it and format it to fit the Kindle, and so that's where I'm at. And so I was able to go through using a mock Kindle that they give you on the website. I went through the whole book, and it tells you, oh, we found 3 errors, 3 like misspelled words, whatever. So I went through and had to find them, and then had to go back to my document, find it there, and then fix them. So as of now, I think the book is near perfect. There might be one spacing mistake in there, maybe perhaps, but I would say it's pretty much 99.9% perfect. All that is left is and getting the what is it, ISBN number. That's the identification number for your book, for different stores to recognize to make it easier to find. And there's different websites and businesses. It makes it easier to find your book with a proper ISBN number. So Amazon Kindle, they provide that for you for your paperback, and then they also provide what else do they provide? It's a sweet service, to be honest. It's pretty nice, but like I said, it can be overwhelming because there's a lot to think about. What do we got here? We got a comment. Where are you from? Uh, I am from. I'm from South America, a land called Argentina. That's where I'm from. My English is good. I speak English very well, don't I? No, that's because I was raised in the States. You know, I've traveled through Europe as an infant. Not many get to do that. That was quite an experience to travel Europe as an infant. It's pretty intense. Pretty intense. So yeah, I get to travel South America. That's not South America, but Argentina and little bits of Europe, um, like France and Italy, like in third grade. So that was pretty crazy. Yeah. So I'm kind of a mixed mutt of different countries, I guess. But what was I talking? Yeah, the book. So that's pretty exciting stuff. I'm just this much closer to getting it done. You know, so one more step to getting closer to achieving my goal this year. I got two major goals. Is getting 1,000 subs for the YouTube. So if you want to help me out with that, I appreciate it. Um, and then the other goal was to publish my first book. So getting close on both, getting very close on both. Pretty crazy. It's been a journey. It's been a journey, but it's a good one. But so close to today, I have to work on the book cover for the paperback, and then I have to keep formatting it. I think I need to fix two more things on the paperback manuscript version. And once I format that, then that's ready. And then again today, I have to design the paperback book cover, which means going through the steps, the templates, the measurements. What's nice about Kindle is that it can assist you in calculating your exact design with how many pages you have, and your design, the paper, the color, whatever. It actually says, okay, here's the weight, here's the thickness. It'll calculate it for you, and you just have to use those calculations for your template to create your book cover. And there's bleeding, this thing called bleeding, where things bleed over or whatever. But yeah, I've been looking at different designs. For the ebook, I made a design that could be okay to use, but the thing with the ebook is it only needs just the cover. It doesn't need the back or anything like that. It just, when you upload it, just uploads the cover, the first cover page. So when I designed it, I didn't design the whole front, back, and spine of the book. So what I may end up doing is, once I design the actual paperback, I'll have to go back and update the cover design I have now for the ebook, because it's going to change probably. It's going to change. But I'm not too worried about these covers, because essentially my plan is to release a book every year for the next 3 years. And once all those 3 books get released, I'm going to publish the trilogy as one book, with a whole new design. So that's why I'm not too worried about the designs on these books. Yeah, I guess that'll be the 4th year. I'll release the trilogy as one book on the 4th year. I'll be 44 years old by the time I finish publishing all these books. It's pretty crazy. Pretty crazy. Now, if I work really fast, if I really just try to pump it out, I could try to get it all done literally in 2 years. You know, that would be pretty nuts. Maybe even just 1 year. I could do it all in 1 year, maybe. I don't know. No, there's no way. 2 years. 2 years, yeah. It would take 2 years at least. But I'm excited because I don't know. I don't know how it's gonna do on out there in the world. You know, who knows how many copies I'll sell. It all comes down to the design. You know, it comes down to how much value the book brings. You know, does it hit right at a certain niche? The niche I'm targeting is the filmmaking niche. Um, there really hasn't been a book like this come out in a while, so I think it'll be a big splash. I think all three books will be a big splash, in my opinion, but I could be totally wrong. But we'll see. We shall see. The film niche, I guess, has grown over the last 10 years, but it's really not the biggest niche. I don't think. I'm just saying that. I don't know. I don't have any data to back that up. But if you go to Barnes and Noble, like film is usually the tiniest like little niche, if there is any, if they even have one anymore. I don't even know if they still have a little film niche. Barnes and Noble has changed so much. That should tell you people's interests. When you go to a Barnes and Noble, it's like where are people's interests? Well, that's all the books they have on display, all the how it's all divided. I gotta be honest. I really freaking hate their new layout. Barnes and Noble. I miss the old Barnes and Noble layouts. I don't know what they did, but I just don't like it. It's very, I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just hate it. I just hate it here in Tulsa. The one on I don't know if anybody agrees with me, but here on the 71st and where is that Barnes and Noble? 71st and what is that? Between Memorial and Mingo, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, yeah, it's something with the layout. It's all wrong. It's just all wrong. I don't know. Like you walk in there and it just feels the whole layout just feels weird. I don't know what the deal is. It's not like the old way they used to have it. I don't know. I think it was much better the way they had it. But who knows? Maybe the layout they have now is for some reason works for them now for the current economy. You know what I mean? So they're pretty smart, but I don't like it. I don't like their layout. It just feels uncomfortable. But I think a lot of it has to do with them trying to survive as a bookstore. Because it's crazy. You walk into Barnes and Noble, they have toys, they have weird gifts, and things like that. So it's no longer really a bookstore. I mean, it's becoming just a generic store with a lot of books. Pretty soon they'll start selling furniture, like for your books. And the next thing you know, they're selling desks for you to write on and tables. I'm telling you, man, Barnes and Noble is they're morphing to the economy. Like it's just their layout is so different. It's crazy to me. They almost have like a tiny Toys R Us inside. You walk in, it's just they have shelves of different little toys for kids, which makes sense. I mean, they have to survive in the market. They have to put out Legos, just like every other store. They're not. But it's so funny to me because it's just so different now. It's not the same old Barnes and Noble that we all loved. It's just different. They have less books. That's my issue. Is they have less space for books now. You go in there, it's like, what the fuck? Half the store is like toys and bullshit. They have less books, man. I'm telling you. It's just I don't know. They have less books and they have more of the books that they sell, I guess, which is a lot of kids' books. and a lot of like young adult books totally taking over the market. um, but what's nice to see, though, what's really nice to see at Barnes and Noble is a section for Oklahoma literature. That's cool. I saw that and I was like, whoa, okay, I dig that. I dig that. They have some really cool books about Oklahoma and really interesting. It's all there, perfectly set, like a whole shelf dedicated to Oklahoma. So that I thought that was pretty cool. So I have my goal. My goal is to, once my book is published, is figure out how to get it on Barnes and Noble. I think I read somewhere you have to sell 1,000 books to even be considered, to even be like sold or shelved on Barnes and Noble. But even then, I can imagine it being very very difficult to get on. Not difficult, but probably another process just as tedious as writing a book and publishing it. It probably is just as tedious as figuring it out how to get on Barnes and Noble. Obviously, Barnes and Noble has their own publishing, whatever you want to call it. So what I may end up doing is once I have all 3 books made, once I do, I don't figure this out. I need to figure out how to get my books on Barnes and Noble once they're all published to Kindle and whatnot. I may have to. Once all the books are done. I don't know. I gotta figure this out. I gotta watch more YouTube videos because I think once you're exclusive to Kindle, like you can't publish anywhere else. But I could be wrong. I don't know. I need to figure that one out. I need to look at. I need to watch more YouTube videos on that. Steady as we go now. Steady as she goes. Steady. That's just the theme for me right now. Is just steady, just sailing through the year. Steady, steady as we go. Steady, steady. Just holding steady. All I gotta do is hold steady for the rest of the year, and I am golden. I'm gonna reach all my goals. All the what do you call them? New Year's resolution or whatever. Killed it. I actually did mine. That's hard. That's like pretty interesting. Not a lot of people say they hit all their New Year's resolutions. I can honestly say that I'm about to. So it took me all the way till August. I'm not even done. So the year's not over yet. So still got plenty of time to get those 1,000 subscribers and publish my book. But still, I look at time as it's escaping, it's limiting. I'm running out. I always look at time as like I'm running out. So even though I have plenty of months ahead of me, I act like I don't. I act like tomorrow is like my last day. So I always try to get as much done as I can. But I don't. I try to get as much done as I can, but it's always oriented towards getting, some micro goals done for the day. So I get some micro goals done for the day, and it gets me closer to my big goal, big goal for the year. It's like micro goals for the day. You got these like semi big goals for the month, and then you have these big goals for the year. And that's been keeping me pretty focused and having a steady, increase of I don't know what you call it, momentum and productivity, growth. Even if I did slow down because of a burnout, I even talk about this in one of my podcast sessions. I talk about the burnout period, how you can still be productive, but it's all about pivoting to something smaller, less stressful, and then going back to the big thing. But the truth is though, is you really burn out. You allow yourself to burn out when you're done with the project, ideally. But if you can't hold on to the finish line, then it's okay to pivot to something else, accomplish that, and then pivot back. Totally acceptable, and you can still keep that momentum going, the productivity going, and all that stuff. So that's where that's where the paintings come in. That's where the theater comes in for me. That's where the book comes in. All these things that I pivoted to month to month has helped me stay productive, focused, and just moving forward with that momentum that I keep building month to month to month, just endlessly, just, you know, having that work ethic of, of actually doing it every single day, no matter what, you know, and moving things forward. Even if it's just an inch for the day, you move things forward for just a little inch. That's as far as you gotten for the day. That's fine. That's an inch one, you know, that's better than nothing. Some people don't win the day at all. They don't even win an inch. They just stay stagnant. If you stay stagnant, I think that's where you lose. That's where you lose momentum. That's where you lose confidence. That's where you lose energy. But I've been like a racehorse. Racehorses have those masks that they wear. It covers the side of their eyes. They stay focused on running forward, and it allows them to not get distracted by the side horses and whatnot. That's how you have to be. You have to be a horse running a race. You have to have those blinders so you don't get distracted by other stuff. Because man, if I allow myself to get distracted by whatever, it would definitely slow me down. It could potentially derail me. You know, and it's easy. It can happen very easily if you're not careful, especially by toxic people. Toxic people can easily disturb your momentum, your energy, everything that you're building. So I can honestly say I spent a good amount of this year in this trailer by myself working on stuff. And then a small portion of the year, like like literally probably 5 days of the whole year where I had events that I was running or something, and they had like a lot of people there. But usually I'm pretty much alone in the trailer here working my butt off. Um, so it's been a very productive year so far. I will say that it's pretty easy to stay focused when you live in a tiny situation. Like I said, less distractions. Less distractions. But yeah, that's what I gotta do today. Is gonna be a book cover design day and finishing the last touches of the formatting to get it ready for print. That's the last step I have to do today. Um, and once I do that, I have to decide whether I'm just going to publish it on the spot once I have everything done, or wait to get a copy sent in. I guess I'm going to wait. Well, I'm not sure how it works, but I think you can order a book, an actual copy of the book that gets sent to you to do a proofread. So that's pretty exciting. I'm actually excited for that step. Um, so this is definitely something you can't rush. You can't rush publishing a book. There's so many steps. There's so many legality things you got to take care of. The copyright. There's just so many things. There's even this thing called what's it called? Digital managing something. I don't know, something around. It just helps protect from pirating and hacking your stuff and somebody else selling your book without you knowing whatever. I don't know. There's just so many things to think about now. But that's the beauty about Amazon and Kindle. It really helps you through the steps. It really helps you understand the process of publishing your first book as an independent, person. Uh, so not too bad. It's like and Kindle is almost like a university. It's like once you published it and done it the first time, it'll become easier the second time and the third time and the fourth time. So I don't have to stick with Kindle. So once I get enough experience publishing books, I can try to even go to a publisher at that point. Who knows? A publisher might approach me and be like, "Hey, we really like your books, and we want to make you one of our authors and publish you." And that would be dope. that'd be really dope if a publisher came to me and was like, "Hey, we want to hire you to write a book or whatever. Want to we want to represent you as an author." That'd be dope. That'd be so dope. That would be pretty sweet. That would look pretty sweet on the resume. You know, because I am trying to possibly next year I'm gonna set a goal to get a screenwriting agent because I'm a screenwriter. That's primarily what I do. And screenwriting is an ever evolving, changing beast. It's crazy. Every year there's like the newest way of writing the feature film, you know, whatever in whatever genre. There's so many little subgenres. There's so many channels and avenues for distribution for TV. Like you got to be aware of these things. Like what channel prefers what stations prefer what kind of content, what kind. There's even like divisions on what kind of comedy gets to what kind of channel. It's really interesting. Everything's like subdivided, very organized, very well. And it's just one of those things that you got to be aware of as a screenwriter if you really want to make it. Because I don't want to just stay stuck to one genre. I actually like the idea of exploring different genres and different characters, and you know, and so like I have this trilogy that's a sci-fi, but that's pretty much it as far as sci-fi, you know. Then I'll like explore whatever drama, whatever, then war, whatever. Just I like the idea of exploring different genres and different types of stories. You know, I don't want to stick to just one type of story over and over and over. It's boring. It's very boring. I think back in the old days you can get away with that, but in the modern world it's just boring. You know, like to be a director that just one type of thing over and over and over. It becomes predictable and just boring. I mean, Wes Anderson is probably the last of his type because it's just his films are boring. They're the same thing over and over and over. It's like, can you do anything else? Can you do anything else, or are you so stuck in that in that world that you don't know how to do anything else? That's fine. If that's the kind of artist you want to be, I find it to be very limiting, to be frank. Um, but each their own, you know, each their own. Um, that's why I like, you know, directors like Spielberg who really branched out a lot in different genres and different types of movies, from sci-fi to comedies to you know horror. I mean, the guy is everywhere. You know, um, I like directors like that who aren't afraid. And he's done movies about, you know, black people. You know, he doesn't stick to his race, you know, like weirdos do in the modern world. For some reason, in the modern world, there's filmmakers that just stick to their race. They're like, oh, we can only make movies about our race because it's the most authentic thing we can talk about. It's like, dude, you're an idiot. That's all I'm gonna say. You're an idiot. You know, that's all you care about is the content of your skin color. Then all I have to say is you're an idiot. You're just an idiot. Um, I mean, I think marketing wise, I think filmmakers do well when they target a certain race because they're the same race. I think it's a cop out, to be honest, to be like, oh, you know, I'm I'm an Asian filmmaker, so I make only Asian movies. So yay, you should be a fan. I think it's a complete cop out, to be honest. It's a weird way to gain reputation and audience without it being because of the content. You know, it's not because the content's good. It's because the characters look like me. You know, and I think that's the lowest form of literacy work, in my opinion. Well, some people say spectacle is the lowest form of you know, either it's literally a work of literature or a movie. Spectacle is usually the lesser of the I don't know what you want to call it, um, substance. I don't know. It's just the lesser the substance, and I would have to say, yeah, relating characters just on the base of their skin color is also in that same department as being one of the lesser. less valued, uh, whatever. It has no substance. It doesn't bring substance. You know. Um, so yeah, spectacle and characters that don't have character because they're just based on skin color is ridiculous. A lot of authors make that mistake. Writers, they think writing characters solely based on the skin color is writing a character. That's a big mistake. That's not how you write characters. There's a thing called ecology. There's a thing called environment. There's a thing called I don't know. There's so many things to think about. Even archetypes, something to think about. Um, for readers and for the opposite sex works too. Um, but yeah, there's just so many things to think about when you think about characters, and you think about other characters in the story and how each character pulls out a different part of the personality of the main character, and that's what other characters are really designed to do in the first place. Other characters in the world are designed to pull different personalities out of the main character, so you get to see throughout the whole story the many different sides of the main character. So if you have side characters that don't do that to the main character, then your side characters are basically useless. They're just wasting time and wasting space. Anyways, I just had to think about what my next step is for today. So I got to figure it out. I'm gonna go back to sleep, but when I wake up again here in a few hours, I'm gonna start exercising and then eat breakfast and then get to work. I gotta design a whole book cover. That's gonna be fun. It's gotta be good too. I may end up designing like five, and pick like the best one out of the five. Um, but yeah, book cover is very important. Book cover. I mean, people. If you're not going to spend the time, I mean, you spend so much time writing your writings, writing your writings. Why skimp out? Why skimp out on the book cover? Oh my, do not skip out on the book cover, please. Oh my God, you're going to be doing yourself a disservice. I'm really just talking to myself. You're going to be doing yourself a disservice. So please do not skimp out. Skimp and skip out on the book cover. Very important. Very important. You know, it can make or break your book in a matter of seconds. Somebody sees the book cover, looks boring, looks generic, doesn't appeal to my interest. It doesn't fit the genre of the book. There's a lot to think about. There's genre expectations from audiences of what a book cover should be. So my thing is it has to look professional, educational, but I also want it to look artistic, creative, explosive, eye-catching, because that's how the book is. The book is authentic. It's real. So the way I'm describing what I've written, I want that to be the cover. I don't want it just to signal, oh, come read this. I want it to signal also how the book is going to feel, like the tone of the book, all that. Like it's a very colorful book. There's a lot to go through in there. There's a lot of information. There's a lot of insightful things in there, a lot of wisdom, so that's what I'm thinking about when it comes to designing a book. How does it reflect what's been written? How can I boost visually the feel and tone of what I've written? How can I express that through the image, through the advertising board, if you will? It's basically a billboard. The outside cover is like a billboard for your book. You're going to sell. You're selling your book right there and there. It's a billboard. You get to advertise, and you're selling your book right there, and then you have seconds Literally 2, 3 seconds, not even. 3 is generous. You know, people look at a book and they're already looking at another book, and they're already looking at which cover is drawing them, right? There's kind of like peripheral. They're just looking around the bookstore or whatever. Which book is gonna scream at them? You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking as far as designing a cover. What's gonna scream at them? What's gonna express the style and tone of the literature through image? That's what I'm thinking about. It has to be explosive. It can't be dull. I think people go with the dull and the boring because it's because they see it in other books that they have just dull, boring books, whatever. But I think it's a mistake. I think it's better to stick out, um, but not to stick out because you can stick out in a bad way. You can stick out looking amateur. Your book cover can look amateur, and that in a way sticks out, you know. But I'd rather stick out in a good way, like in a very like, wow, this cover is amazing, you know, like it just blows my mind right now. Um, so that's what I'm thinking. That's what I'm thinking about when it comes to the book cover. So that sounds like a task, doesn't it? It sounds like a real task. Because like I said, I already designed a book cover, but it's very boring. It's very bland. It does catch your eye, but like I said, it's not it's not there. It's not there. I would be a fool to go with the first design I made. You know, yeah, it's the first one I made. I'm proud of it and happy with it, but it's just the first one. I better design at least three. You know, at least three to be like, and then like spend a few days. Allow myself to spend a few days to like think about the cover and be like, okay, which I think now that I've had a few days to think about it, you know, and I've put it in front of people to see how they react to it, you know, okay, then I think I'm gonna go with this book cover because it's been working the best. People like that one the best, you know. So it's a whole process. I'm not gonna just design a book cover and put it up there. Use Canva. Oh my God, I would rather shoot myself in the face before I use Canva to design my book cover. Are you kidding me? Hell no. Hell no. I stay away. As far as book covers, like I'll do a YouTube template using Canva. That's fine, but publishing a book cover? Are you kidding me? No. That's I almost look at it as designing a movie poster. Like I take it very seriously, you know. So not gonna skip out on the book cover. It might take more than one day to do the book cover design. It could take another 3 days or four or a week before I choose a book cover. Because it'd be very easy to just pick the first thing I do, but that's not the right process. If you really want to design a book cover that's going to really work, you got to do the process. You got to design multiple covers. You got to put it in front of people, test it out, see which one really grabs them, and get their opinions. You know, some might think that some other book covers are too loud. They're not going to go to it because it's just too overwhelming. Like it's just too loud. It's trying to seek attention too much. You know, maybe going simple is the best way. Going very simple, very minimal. You know, that could be the way to go about it. I don't know. These are things to test out. I'm not gonna just decide on my own without testing it out in front of people to get some. I need real feedback. I need data. I need to collect data to see which book cover will do the best. So yeah, I'm probably gonna design a few today. Give myself a few days to pick out the best one, which is annoying, but I'd rather take the time. Honestly, it'll be worth it in the long run. And then yeah, and I have the time. I have I have the time to do this. So It's fine. I'm not worried about it. I do want to get it published. It's been 2 years, so believe me when I tell you that I being this close makes you want to skip a few things or just get it done, just to get it done and published. But it's fine. I've been able to wait 2 years and write the book in 2 years and go through this process. I can wait another week. It's not a big deal. Not a big deal. But it's really important for me to get it right, especially the book cover. The formatting, the book cover, man, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be perfect. I mean, this is, it's it's hard to screw up a book. It's one thing to like screw up an album because there's a lot to deal with, like recording and stuff. There's one thing to mess up a movie, but to mess up a book, I mean, come on, that's on you. Like that's on you because there's it's not as I don't think it's as hard as making an album or making a movie. I think it's one of the easier. It's definitely more challenging than painting. I'll tell you that much. Definitely more challenging than painting. Um, but I don't know. Each craft is like its own fruit. Painting is like a banana. Publishing a book is an orange. Creating an album is grapes, and making a movie is tangerine. They're all different crafts. They're all different fruits. They all take different amounts of energy and money and focus and people. Making a movie takes an army, while painting you can literally do by yourself. Publishing, you can definitely use the help of at least three people. Someone to help you edit, someone to help you publish, someone to help you through the process. I mean, a professor or whatever. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of things like that. Uh, what else did I say? Making an album, man. Making an album, you need the other musicians. You need feedback from people while you're recording to see if it actually sounds good and whatnot, how people react to it. You need the engineers in there. There's the legality of the music. There's the publishing of the music, the distribution of the music. Musicians do their thing. They tour. You know, book writers also tour, but it's not as intense as preparing for like memorizing all the songs and performing them, right? It's more intense. Everything is like every little craft art form has their level of intensity, and like it's like easy level to like the hardest level. I think movie making is probably definitely the hardest level. um, Music comes very close, but you know, there's theater and Broadway, which is a whole other animal. I do theater as well. Um, yeah, that's like it's very close to like movie making, but it's more challenging because theater is right in between the musician and the filmmaker because you're dealing with live, you're dealing with memorizing a bunch of shit that you have to perform on the night, versus filmmaking, you memorize a bunch of shit, but it's for the day. And then it's usually not as much. It's actually, you know, not as much. Depending on the scene, depending on what you're filming. Some scenes require more, obviously. Uh, to me, filmmaking is all about how much can you cram in one night. Like how much can you cram in one night for the following morning. It's very tedious work. It's work that I actually don't like doing because if they were to slow down a bit, then it would be more enjoyable. That's why I enjoy theater and art, book writing, and all these other things because it's a slow process. Filmmaking is, oh my god, it's just every day, from 3 a.m. to freaking midnight, and you're back at it every day. It's insanity. It's just insanity. And I don't know why. I don't know why they have to work like that. I don't know, because they're worried about time and money and this, but it kind of. I mean, I wish it was normal to slow down and like, it's not like they work fast. They're working at a steady pace, but it's every single minute, you know what I'm saying? Obviously there's lunchtime, there's whatever breaks, whatever, but I mean it is just they take everything from you the whole day for months without end. It requires a lot, to work in the film industry. You got to be pretty tough, pretty tough. Same with musicians. You got to be really tough because you tour a lot, and you know it's kind of the same thing. If you like, I feel like musicians spend a lot of time touring, you know, versus, I mean, a lot of time in recording and a lot of time touring, versus theater. You do spend a lot of time rehearsing, but it's not like you go on tour with theater. It's just you do the show, and usually the show is over in like a month or something, and that's it, right? But there's something to be said about The Drunkard here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. It's a show that stays on for the whole year. Every Saturday they perform the show. That's what I like about The Drunkard is since they perform the show every Saturday for the whole year, you really get a sense of what it feels like to be working all the time as an entertainer, as an artist. Um, I think it really builds that character. Uh, it's something that I'm working on. Like potentially, I do want to spend. You know, it'd be a tough goal to do, but yeah, to do a show at least once a month for The Drunkard would be a tough goal, but it's definitely doable. Um, but that would help me stay pretty much, you know, in the game and trained as an actor. Like just staying active as an actor is pretty important to me because I'm all about all that stuff, and I feel like if I don't stay active as an actor, like I feel like all the training I've done would be like completely like useless. So I keep it alive by doing theater. There's actually they have auditions coming up for a mystery, which I actually want to audition. I'm gonna audition for it. The auditions are, I think, at the end of August. I need to make sure I don't miss it. But I need to sign up and do this because I really want to do it. It's a mystery, uh, Agatha Christie novel converted into a play. So I think it's the House Trap. I think it's what it's called. So Broken Arrow is putting it on. I think that'd be pretty sweet if I can nail that gig. Um, for me, it'd be a way to I don't know, to keep extending what I do as an actor. Keep training myself because it's doing theater is tremendous for a film actor because you know a lot of times you're given scripts and you have to memorize a page for the next day. It starts to become easier because a theater actor very intense, very intensive. You got to memorize a lot, so you're working out your brain and exercising all that stuff, that side of your brain that you need, that's required to be a good actor, right? Memorizing lines, hitting your cues, all that stuff. So it's almost like good training to on the side to help out my TV and filmmaking career. You know, obviously you perform differently on stage than you would on TV and film, but all I'm saying is it's like training. It's like perfect training grounds for an actor, right? So that's why I'm excited for this play that's coming up. I want to see if I can do it. I want to see if I can actually go through the process, audition, memorize, completely new play, memorize a completely for a new character, do a completely new character, memorize those lines and do that, transform myself into the character. That's because that's what I did. That's what I did for the drunkard. I completely transformed myself into the character. Um, and so now that I'm back to myself, I'm just like, okay, the next challenge is potentially this next play coming up in Broken Arrow Playhouse. Very much considering it. I think I am going to audition for it. As soon as I publish my book, that's the next thing I'm going to do is jump on this thing and see if I can audition for this thing and actually nail this part. If I nail the part, I think the show is in October, so not a lot of time to memorize the parts, but I bet you anything we'd be probably rehearsing like every single day. So that'd be nice. Yeah, I think if I can actually get this gig and get through it, that's gonna be so good for my experience, my talents to keep growing. Because yeah, I still want to act. It's not that's totally destroyed, or I've always done something related to theater and acting, my whole life. So I don't see that ever stopping. It's just going to get better and better and better. I see myself being an old man performing on stage. What I'm saying, if I'm lucky enough to get to that old age, I still see myself performing on stage like at 80 years old. That's the kind of person that I am. I'm not going to stop acting just because I don't get a TV role or a filmmaking role. I will continue to do it because that's what I do. That's what I've always done, and that's what I will continue to do. I bring it up because a lot of people call me fake, and here locally they call me a fake. Like, oh, you're not a real actor, you're not a real filmmaker, blah blah blah, you're famous. Because I'm independent. I haven't really tried to pursue an agent or a studio or anything or management group to back me up. I just do everything out of the pure love for it. I never really thought about like career advancement. I just like for the pure joy of the things that I do is why I do them. They're not for fame. It's not for money. It's not for some weird ego career advancement. No, just for the pure love of it. That's why I say I'll be doing theater until I'm 80 years. I get a real satisfaction, after nailing a part, becoming a character, and bringing it and making it come to life. It's hard. It's not easy. That's why I get a lot of satisfaction from it. We actors make it look real easy. It's a lot more difficult than you think. But yeah, I miss being in rehearsal. I miss having something new to work on, new material. So that's why I have the itch to go back to acting. So I saw that opportunity for auditions, and I'm like, it's a small cast. I think there's only 7 people in the cast, which would be nice to work with a small cast. New faces, new people. That's always nice to collaborate with new faces, new people, and all that. And you always learn something new from somebody that you just didn't realize they had something to teach you. There's always something new you can learn from somebody. You don't know until you realize, oh, I didn't know that. You just taught me something. But yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'm excited. I'm excited for that. And who knows? That could be my next big accomplishment is the play. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. Then there's the haunted house. There's the haunted house in October that we will probably start building soon. I imagine in September, probably sooner than that. Probably like right now. They're probably starting the haunted house right now, I imagine. So that's something I'm going to jump on as well. Probably do something like I can imagine spending the next few months working on a haunted house and memorizing lines for a play. And then, but that'd be fun though to do YouTube, to go live on a haunted house, to go live on the play, all that stuff. Why not? Why not? Why not? Anyways, I'm just trying to psych myself up. You know, today's gonna be a good day. Today is gonna be a good day. I'm gonna work on the book cover today. Gonna get that done. I'm gonna go back to sleep for a few hours. It's still dark out, so I can probably get in a few hours of sleep. I'm not tired. I don't feel, but you know, I like the idea of thinking about what I'm gonna do. Go back to sleep, and sometimes when I go back to sleep, I fall actually go deeper into sleep. I find for some reason I'll start dreaming, um, and my mind is probably thinking about book cover designs while I'm sleeping. Yeah, so I don't like lay down and like watch YouTube. I basically think about what I'm gonna do, think about that till I fall asleep. But I like to YouTube during the day. You know, I'll YouTube like when I take a break from doing stuff. I'll lay down, take a break, watch YouTube for a minute. In the mornings, I like to watch educational videos on YouTube, something related to what I'm working on, like the book and publishing on Kindle. I'll probably watch 4 to 5 videos. They're usually 20, 30 minutes long each. And it's usually some person talking about this is how you do this. You know, if you're having trouble on Kindle, well, this is what you need to do. Chat. Apparently, Chat GPT is good for asking, "Hey, I'm stuck with this. Can you help me with this?" I've been doing that, but it gets a little it gets overwhelming. You know, it's good to have somebody there. Just go, oh, let me just help you. You know, and I really needed that yesterday. I got to the point where I was like, this will go so much faster with somebody who's already done this, and gone through the ropes, and it was so much quicker. It saved me a lot of time on formatting the book. I got the gist of the formatting done. I got a lot of it done, the hard part done. But there was little errors here and there that need to be corrected. There's problems with the index pages numbers, and then there's the other page numbers. There's issues there. It's all about understanding how to use the program. But I never used Microsoft Word to format a book. I mean, I didn't even think you could do that on Microsoft. I thought you needed like a special program, but apparently you don't. You just need to figure out how to use Microsoft Word. It's a tool, and the more you know how to use the tools and all the tools that it has to offer, the more you know how to manipulate what you're trying to do, right, and get your outcome. So yeah, it's a bitch process, but a bitch of a process, but totally worth it. As an independent artist, now that I know how to publish my own books, you cannot stop me. I've just opened up the floodgates. You know what I mean? Like, forget about it. Forget about it. I figured out how to make books. Forget about it. You're not going to be able to stop me now. Forget it. Forget it, dude. There's nothing that can stop me now, With movies, it's hard because it's got to have reach certain levels of standards and quality and this and that and this and that and this and that. No, no, forget it. Forget it. I'm gonna write books for a while, make my money from books. Tour around, trying to sell the books and whatnot, advertise the books, sell my brand, put my brand out there. Build up my brand for the next few years before I go back to movie making. I don't have a desperate need to make movies every single year. I'm not necessarily just a filmmaker. I go by India tour because I don't know. I have an approach to all the crafts. I have an approach to my style, and it's all in there. My acting, my film, my songs. It's all relatable. They all have a certain style that I do things. I do my own movie posters. So I just, I'm an artist. I design everything. It all has a style to it. So, so I've reached the point of accepting who I am. I'm an indie auteur. And I actually, what started it all, believe it or not, when I was going to Tulsa Community College, I had this professor, Matt Edwards, who introduced the notion of the indie auteur to me. I had no idea what the hell an indie auteur was. I didn't care about it. I wanted to be a filmmaker. That was my whole thing. Not that at the time I was actually making movies on my own. And then I had this other teacher, Sharon, who continued to teach that the philosophy, the idea of an indie auteur. And then, at the time, I didn't even know, I didn't make the connection that she ran Bare Bones, but she did. And I submitted to Bare Bones, and I submitted to Bare Bones quite often. And I started doing it early on in 2007. And in 2010, I was nominated to be awarded Indie Auteur of the Year. And I was going up against Harlan Williams, the comedian, who was in a lot of movies, but one that comes to mind is Dumb and Dumber. He was the police officer who drinks the pee out of the beer. Do you remember that scene? Well, anyways, that actor, he has been in a lot of movies. Harlan Williams, he's a pretty well-known comedian. He's probably not, hot right now. He's not, but he's always been funny to me. He's always had a really funny, just vibe. His face, his expressions. He's just a funny guy. He can, so I always thought he was funny, but I was up against him. Surprisingly, he made a movie, a comedy about an alien, whatever. Kind of like Paul, but with less money. But essentially, yeah, I was up against him and some other filmmakers, and I really thought he was going to win the Indie Auteur Award, or whatever, Indie Auteur of the Year, just because he's so accomplished, and he made a decent, funny movie. I mean, it was funny, and it was low budget, but it was still freaking hilarious. And he still does stand up and whatnot. And I just figured he was going to win. But at the time, I guess Bare Bones was aware that I had made a documentary feature film, and I made another feature film, and then I had another feature film. So I was coming out every year with a feature film. And so the 2010, when I came out with that Hatch movie, I guess they decided, hey, you know what? We've seen that he just makes movie after movie, and this and that. And so I don't know. I guess they decided to award me the Indie Auteur. And then after that, and I was actually about to quit filmmaking and possibly pursue something else. But after winning that award, I was like, damn, I gotta keep this up. See what else I can do. I started working on Stray Kids. But the problem with Stray Kids, that movie, it took me longer than I thought to make. Partly because is because I went back to college, and college took pretty much 2 years out of my life to focus on college. I had to work a lot of odd jobs. I had relationship problems. I had financial problems. I had, I'm saying, there was a lot of restrictions and limitations that made editing and making Stray Kids possible. It seemed like an impossible task, but it took me 15 years to make Stray Kids, and it's done finally. And I'm just waiting to release it. I've decided to release it on YouTube, but I'm only going to release it once I'm monetized. So once I get monetized on YouTube, actually make money from ads and whatnot, then I will release Stray Kids on YouTube to be streamed I think I could even set a price, if I'm not mistaken. I could set it as a price for like $1 to be able to watch Stray Kids or something. Um, so we'll see. We'll see what I can do. So I'm just waiting. In the meantime, I do screen it in film festivals. I do screen it in local theaters. I'm going to continue screening it, until I get monetized. Um, kind of build a momentum behind it. All that. Um, so yeah, so I'm on a mission. I got a lot of stuff on my plate to really think about, worry about. Not worry, but be on task about things. Um, it's kind of interesting. So yeah. I'm excited for everything. I'm excited for everything that's happening. Everything that's what I was just thinking about. I was thinking about how everything is just coming together. We got some comments. Hey, what's up? What inspired you to do YouTube Live? Oh, right now? Oh, I usually do this every now and then. I just kind of just put myself out there. I talk about the things I'm doing and getting done. Sometimes I rant if something triggers me. Then I feel a lot better after I rant. um, I just move on. I've been using it as a vlog, a journal, if you will. I've been journaling, vlogging since the beginning of the year because, like I said, I have a goal to reach 1,000 subscribers. So I just figured I just use YouTube as a journal and just talk about my journey. Then I do like live gardening and art and other stuff. So it's whatever. I go live. I randomly go live anytime I want, really. But I don't have a set time or anything. But usually, like I said, I I wake up randomly in the middle of the night because I go to bed early. I go to bed like at 9 or something. Then I'll wake up around 2:30 a.m. Then I'll just be up. So then so I take this time to just kind of just talk and reflect on what I need to get done tomorrow. And I don't know, it's just a good time to just think about stuff, reflect, and prepare. And then yeah, so I'm gonna go back to sleep. Actually, I'm gonna go back to sleep here in a minute. But yeah. One last time, like a gangster. Amish. They call me the Amish gangster. It's funny. Anyways, I was trying to find my hat. I have this white hat. It's pretty cool. All right, folks. I'm going back to bed. Thanks for taking the time to visit me. Chit chat. Y'all have a good night. Sweet dreams.